Hi and welcome to Now Showing, the time and place where all non-serious conversations stop as we seriously talk about the most serious thing on earth, and that is cinema and its art forms. I'm Atika Farooqui. This week we have a collection of those who preserve art and also those who play to the gallery. Let's begin with the highlights. Teri Baaton mein Aisa Uljha Jiya is a romantic comedy that hurts, warns and thrills with its deep messaging. In the Mind of an Actor with Mrunal Thakur, a girl who balances meaningful and commercial cinema. Abhishek Chaubey, the acclaimed director, and his process as a filmmaker. And singer Sid Sriram talks about performing at this year's Coachella Music Festival. Let's begin with this week's release. Teri Baaton mein Aisa Uljha Jiya tells the story of an engineer played by Shahid Kapoor who falls in love with Sifra, an AI, that is artificial intelligence, female robot, played by Kriti Sanon. Things take a twist when he falls in love with her and can't get her off his mind, which leads to a comedy of errors. The film is backed by Dinesh Vijan, Jyoti Deshpande and Lakshman Utekar. Directed by the writer-director duo Amit Joshi and Aradhana Shah, the film is a romantic comedy that delves into the authenticity of a romance with a robot and questions the reality of it all. Aryan, portrayed by Shahid Kapoor, is a robotics expert, deeply enamored with everything that blinks and beeps. He is at the forefront of technological exploration, constantly pushing the boundaries of innovation. His aunt, played by Dimple Kapadia, owns a scientifically advanced lab dedicated to creating cutting-edge robots that push the boundaries of artificial intelligence. Aryan embarks on a journey to the United States to undertake a new project under the guidance of his aunt and mentor, Urmila, that is Dimple Kapadia. While there, he finds himself under the care of Sifra, played by Kriti Sanon, his aunt's efficient manager, who is known to him is a robot programmed to foster affection. Aryan falls for her, unaware of her true nature. However, upon discovering the truth, he is indignant at being used as a test subject. Despite his initial anger, he feels a strong connection with Sifra and persuades his aunt to bring her to India, where she must navigate the complexities of his exuberant and marriage-obsessed family. The question of whether Aryan will find happiness with the almost perfect robot unfolds as the story progresses. As the truth about Sifra comes to light, it sends shockwaves through the family, disrupting Arya's life in unexpected ways. The storyline takes a poignant turn when Sifra experiences a malfunction, highlighting the broader societal issues surrounding femininity and the questionable perceptions held about women. The movie's charm lies in its romantic storyline, with Shahid Kapoor and Kriti Sanon exuding captivating on-screen chemistry. Their dynamic together draws viewers into a whirlwind romance reminiscent of classic Bollywood love stories from the early 2000s. Sanon shines in her role, delivering a multifaceted performance that captivates audiences. Her portrayal of a poker-faced robot, punctuated by perfectly timed laughter and moments of glitching in the human world, is both humorous and skillfully executed. Meanwhile, Shahid effortlessly embodies the role of a love-struck protagonist, adding depth to his character with his irreverent charm. Cinematographer Lakshman Utekar uses the film's picture-perfect production design to his fullest advantage, making sure every frame looks dazzling. Sachin Jigar's soundtrack gorgeously marries future bass, Indian semi-classical and soft underscores to create the perfect oral atmosphere for the two characters falling madly for each other. The narrative unfolds within an unconventional framework, requiring a delicate touch to navigate its course with sensitivity and fidelity in portraying dialogue and character dynamics in this contemporary era. Shahid's character, along with several secondary characters, is depicted engaging in inappropriate discourse concerning women, femininity and marriage. Later in the story, Aryan adopts similar derogatory remarks such as American, orphan and mental patient to rationalize Sifra's unconventional behavior to others. These instances serve as a satirical portrayal of a certain subset of men who harbor a desire for control over women, only to find that women, or in this case the machine, possess their own agency to survive and evolve, delivering a poignant reality check to their misguided assumptions too. Therefore, while at many points in the film you sense that writers have the right plot points, they haven't fully capitalized on the potential of it. The writing could have been sharper and wittier, but writing duo still deserve applause for their bold attempt to showcase such a relevant issue in such a refreshing manner. To sum up, this captivating film weaves an enchanting romance and compelling storyline that holds the audience's attention throughout its 143-minute runtime. The impactful final act, especially the last 20 minutes, guarantee a memorable viewing experience and recommends the film for a wide audience. Be sure to catch it at your nearest theatre. And now moving on, Mrunal Thakur is an interesting actor. From Love Sonia, her film where she literally surprised all of us with her earthy performance, to her recent Sita Ramam and Hi Nana. There are shades to her that surprise to Hindi audiences and Telugu viewers alike. Here is our special segment, In the Mind of an Actor, completely focused on her this time. What's her world of acting? How much is rehearsed and how much is free-flowing? Here she goes.
Yes, I learned from Vidur sir creating characters. When I'm listening to the character, the film, the screenplay and the story, or if I'm reading it, I like reading it in one go or listening it in one go so that I'm not distracted, and it's also I notice my own body language, you know, if I'm feeling cold, but at the same time I still want to hear the story. If my if my bladder is full and I still want to listen to the story, that means that's how interested I am to know this. I'm sitting on the edge of the seat, and sometimes I also ask the director, why me? And the answers would always make you feel good. Oh my God, time, I think jitna waqt mile utna kam hai. Preparation till the time you're on set, till the time you start rolling for it, at least a week, you start rolling and you still feel like nerve-wracking because this is for the first time you are entering into a universe of this new character that I'm playing. So the time is never enough, chahe wo kitne bhi saal mahine lag jaye. But what is really nice is I like to read my scenes but not learn my dialogues to an extent where I become monotonous. Because what happens is the pauses, when the director wants those pauses and pregnant pauses especially to be precise, फिर वो नहीं आता है. So I just learn my situation that I am in, that particular scene requires me to, and the director's brief, it just changes everything. I like to be spontaneous. There are two things I want to do on a movie set. I like to listen to music because music for me is an instant medicine. I have special songs designated to particular scenes because whenever I perform that scene and you play that song and it's so aligned that it just brings out your emotions. If you're not going through a heartbreak, you're still feeling it. That's the power of music. The second one is when it's a tough scene. For example, when I played Love Sonia, I tried to lock myself in the vanity and just feel it, but I realized that it would take a lot of toll on my mental health. So what I do is, it's important to disconnect as well, and it's very, very important to leave your characters on set when you come back home, because that's what actors do. We don't have to play those characters in our personal lives. When I'm performing a scene, I never remember my previous take, because I believe that if I keep trying to imitate myself, it will become monotonous. I think every take, the dialogue delivery is different, and there should be variations, not extremely. You should also understand what is the brief of the director, and उस periphery में आप जितना खेल सकते हो खेलो, क्योंकि that's your playground. And there's always one thing that I do on set, or I tell my co-actors and my director way in advance is it okay if I do one take for love? Because that's where the magic happens. Oh, I love to travel. I love to be in the nature. And the best time where I can think is when I'm swimming, because I'm just by myself and I can hear my thoughts. And I like to study the sun signs, because every sun sign has different characteristics. So, you know, if Sita is a Leo, you know, Yashna could be a Gemini or a Capricorn. I mean, these are the qualities that yeah, these are the things that I do. Whenever I am home, I start reading the Premchand ki Laghu Kathaएं, because there's so much to read and there's so much to learn. Zaban saaf hoti hai, and short stories, so that even if you're not much of a reader, you enjoy. It's a quick read. इरफान सर, क्योंकि लाइनें आपकी ना भी हो तो आप उसे रिएक्ट कैसे कर रहे हैं, दैट इज़ वे मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट. तबू मैम, बिकॉज जिस एफर्टलेसनेस से वो डायलॉग्स डिलीवर करती है, and sometimes we forget to breathe, or we forget to gulp our saliva, but the way she does it is just so beautiful. And third is Rani ma'am. I love the way she plays with her eyes. I watch the scenes over and over again, क्योंकि जो चीज़ आप बोल, ज़रूरी नहीं कि सारी चीज़ आप शब्दों में बयां करें. Sometimes it's just the eyes that you play with. Maybe you look into the left eye, you look in the right eye, you look at the lips, maybe the nose, and that's what the game is all about. It's the eye game, yeah. Oh my God, there's so many fun stories. But I remember on the sets of Sita Ramam, as it was my first Telugu movie, and I was very nervous. But it was so interesting that Dulquer Garu, who's a Malayali, we have Rashmika, who's from Karnataka, and we had Sachin sir, who's also Maharashtrian like me. Hanu sir speaks Telugu. So we all came from different regions. And there was a point where Hanu sir would forget that we don't understand Telugu, and he'd start explaining it to me in Telugu, and I would respond to him in Marathi, and Dulquer Garu would respond to him in Malayalam. So there was this whole pan-India situation happening there, which was so funny. But what was beautiful was everybody was understanding, just communicating in different language, and I felt that was so interesting and funny at the same time.
And let's move on to people behind the stage and screen. Killer Soup, Ankahi Kahaniyan, Son Chiriya, Udta Punjab, Ray, Ishqiya, Ded Ishqiya. All the films smack of Hindi, heartland, and a wacky attraction to randomness. I have known actors who would give their right hand to be a part of his movies. Here is Abhishek Chaubey explaining the process of his films and the director's mind that he possesses.
Every time I make a film, it's almost like I'm wearing tinted glasses, you know, and the entire world as I see it is through that tint, through that color. And when the film comes out, the world immediately starts looking different. I immediately start feeling a sense of detachment towards it, as if it's not mine. And thereafter, towards the end of that process, you start learning what you have made, more than what was good about it, what was wrong about it, what mistakes you made. So in every film, it's been different. Sometimes I just get the feeling that, you know, I've been too obtuse. You know, I should be a little more, you know, little broader brushstrokes are required sometimes. Sometimes that feeling comes. Sometimes the feeling comes that I was too scared. I should have been a little more open, you know. So it's different learnings each time. As far as Killer Soup is concerned, I'm yet to reach that stage. But every time you learn something when you make a film, mostly it's got to do with trying to improve as a filmmaker every time, you know. You know, sometimes you go this way and then you realize you've gone too far into this direction and you need to turn back and, you know, think about that. So yeah, maybe I've made a comedy this time, so maybe next time around I'm going to do something which is very serious. I don't know. But every time, yes, there is something that you learn. How to approach your next film, mostly. I just want my films or my work in series in this case to succeed enough so that I get an opportunity to make another. Really, that's what I look for. It was really in my first film. It's not such a grand story or anything, but I was this young filmmaker, barely in my 30s, and I was making my first film. I was really enthusiastic. On my first day of shoot, I was directing a stalwart, Naseez Bhai, you know, And I had worked with Naseer Bhai on a couple of occasions, but it's very different being an assistant director, and then directing your first films. I had a level of comfort with him, of course, but I was directing him for the first time. And I was just so full of myself and full of the film that I was making. So there's a shot that I was trying to describe to him. And in trying to describe that shot, I was trying to explain to him the theory behind the whole thing, what this is supposed to mean, and what am I trying to say through this image and through what's happening. And he listened to me very patiently, and then he turned around and said, "But beta, mujhe karna kya hai?" So it's a simple thing, but what it taught me that day was, don't try and get trapped, in your theories. These theories are there very much, but keep them to yourself, and work with your actors on set. Just tell them what to do. Acting is a physical process. It has to be done with your body. So it's very important for actors to know what they have to physically do in a shot, and body never lies. So good actors often, when they react, when they are uncomfortable with what you've told them with the staging, they react physically. Something is not true about this movement. So it's work more on those things. Theory is important. Maybe you can discuss it at the office, but when you get onto the set, get down to the nuts and bolts of what the image is and what you expect your actors to do. Work your script out well as much as possible. Do not rush when you're writing. You're going to be rushed in filmmaking once it begins. So better take your time and write a script, flesh it out, get feedback, and be sure of what you're doing. So script, cast well, work with your casting directors, and cast well. Some of the casting has to be done for reasons other than just creative choices. Sometimes you have to think commercially, but even then you have a choice. And then spread the word with your casting team and go to local theatres where your film is set and select the right people. So cast well, that's very, very important, and workshop your actors. Crew up well. When actual filmmaking is happening, I think you, as a filmmaker, you actually do very little. It's everybody else who's doing the work. The actors are acting, the cameraman is shooting, the sound guy is doing production. You are just watching things shape up according to your vision. So I think you have to crew up well, people who are aligned to your vision, or in fact have the ability to sometimes point you in the right direction if you're getting it wrong. Take good time to edit. Listen to your editor. Give your editor the space to confront you, to question you, because sometimes it is on the edit that the film makes or breaks. And be careful, do your post-production well. A lot of directors do not really pay a lot of attention to post-production because they think their work is done when they've shot the film, and that's just a wrong way to go about it. Think about your transitions. All your transitions, they come together in post-production. It is actually when you do the post that the film actually looks the way people are going to consume it or watch it. So yeah, work on that.
Time for a short break. When we come back, we have singer Sid Sriram with his music. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Now Showing. I'm Atika Farooqui. Singer Sid Sriram, who made a splashing debut with the song Adiye from Mani Ratnam's Kadal in 2013, has emerged one of the most favorite voices for all the love songs by the composers in South. Be it the famous Srivalli from the film Pushpa's Tamil, Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam versions, or Air Pulla from this week's Tamil release Lal Salam, starring Rajnikant, is too winning the hearts of the audiences. And up next, we have Sid Sriram in conversation with my colleague Vishal Chatkara, talking about his music and performing at the Coachella Valley Music Festival later this year.
Sid, you are one of the finest singers that we have in the country today. You'll be putting India on the global map in April as you'll be performing at the Coachella Valley Music Festival. What is the feeling right now, and how are you planning to perform at Coachella?
I'm excited. It's going to be a special set. Think that set's just really going to bring together all that makes me who I am. So a lot of my original material, which is in English, and venturing into other spaces that have made me who I am. And I think for me, my cultural roots are at the very center of all the music that I do. So the Coachella set will really bring that to life. And I think we're going to bring something really unique to the stage over there. So I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Sure. If I can be just genre specific, Most of your popular songs are love songs or sad love songs. Do you think that gives you an edge as a singer? And correct to say, Sid Sriram is voice is most preferred voice when it comes to romantic songs.
Yeah, I mean, I think my voice, I've talked about this before, there's a certain kind of inherent pain in it. And I think that feeling really lends itself to heartbreak or romance. And but at the same time, I think not only necessarily romantic love songs, some of my biggest hits have been songs about, like there's a song in Tamil, Kannana Kanne, which is about relationship between a father and a daughter. And so, really exploring the different bounds of what love is and the manifestations of it. But yeah, romantic songs have definitely, there's been a resonance there. I love singing them, I love performing them. So I think it's a good thing.
You had a very auspicious start to your career as you sang the song Adiye for the Tamil and Telugu version of the film Kadil,
Yes.
which was released in 2013.
Yep.
The film was, of course, directed by Mani Ratnam and had music by A.R. Rahman. So then, which are A.R. Rahman's songs that you think have inspired you a lot or helped you in your singing?
I think the biggest piece that has always been a constant for me is the theme of Bombay. And it felt like music that had been around for lifetimes and lifetimes, like, from the beginning of time almost. It was one of those melodies that just felt so embedded with the universe. And then that BGM after that comes and all that, it's that piece more than anything lyrical or anything. I've obviously all of his songs from when I was 3 years old, or like as far back as I can remember, have been huge influences. But this piece somewhere found a place deep within my soul, and it's lived with me since as far back as I can remember.
Let's talk about your song from the film Pushpa. The song was, of course, called Srivalli, for which you bagged a Filmfare Award. Now, Pushpa 2 will be releasing in August later this year. Do you remember the song recording of Srivalli, and what was your first reaction or everyone's to the song when you heard it for the first time?
So I went to DSP studio in Chennai here, and through the day he discovered new textures of my voice that he wanted to use and such. And I just remember it being like a relaxed session. So because of that, we had a lot of fun, and that spirit kind of lives very vibrantly in that song. And I do this thing where I don't really predict if a song is going to be successful or not or whatever. But also for me, working with Allu Arjun Garu I'm a big fan of his. So singing this song for that film, working with him for the second time was really cool. And to see the response for that song, especially how it's traveled across the whole country and across the world, has been really very inspiring. Chupe Bangaramayane Srivalli Mate Manikyamayane Chupe Bangaramayane Srivalli Nave Navaratnamayane.
Because of this expertise you have of Carnatic music, that makes your creative process easy when you are singing in different languages, like in Marathi or in Malayalam.
Yeah, I mean, I think this creative process and the rigor that I put into it over the years has given me a foundation that I'm operating from. So I always more or less feel like my feet are planted somewhere. So then I can go ahead and fly off into different spaces or languages, and I have my context pretty strongly set. Another great thing about Carnatic music is there's many compositions across all the South Indian languages. So when I'm singing a song in Telugu, even though I don't speak Telugu or that's not my mother tongue, I've had some experience through my Carnatic training singing these Tyagaraja songs and such. So I have some context for the phonetics of that language, of Kannada, of Malayalam. Obviously, there's so much nuance to each language, so then you spend more time. And then extending that out to Marathi, like you mentioned, and honestly, I think I'm just a fan of music first. So even if I don't understand a language, if it speaks to me on that, deeply like subconscious, heartfelt level, then that always leads me to want to explore more. So in Marathi, it was that the song Apsara Ali, Ajayatul. And that was the one that really kind of just captured my imagination. Then it made me want to learn more about the language and do a bit more of a deep dive. Komal kaya ki moha maya पुन्हा चांदना न्हाले सोन्यात सजले रुप्यात भिजले रत्न प्रभात नुल्याली नटली थटली जशी उमटली चांदणी रंग महाली मी यौवन भिजली पाहून थिजली इंद्र सभा भवताली अप्सरा आली इंद्रपुरीतून खाली पसरली लाली रत्न प्रभात नुल्याली ती हसली गाली चांदणी रंग महाली अप्सरा आली.
And that's the end, unfortunately, but just the beginning of something new. As Meryl Streep had said, take your broken heart and turn it into art. So must you. So have I. So does everyone. Take care of yourself. Till we meet again, here is me and the entire team saying goodbye.